What's up, guys? It's me, Alan. I'm back, and wow, what a race! That we have so much to talk about with the Cup Series Dirt or Bristol Dirt race. But first things first, gotta throw this out there. This was actually announced during the Stage 2 break. NASCAR is gonna be doing Bristol Dirt again in 2022. That should be interesting with the next gen car. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But here we go. So Kyle Larson had to start the race in the back after changing an engine. This was back from like Friday or Thursday. Michael McDowell, Matt Benedetto had to go to the back for unapproved adjustments. And then we get the race going, and literally 10 or 11 laps in, Kyle Busch has overheating issues. Comes down pit road. And then a little bit later, we get a caution. Basically, what happened was Eric Almirola hit the bump in the corner. Stuart Friesen might have had a role in that. He didn't get a ton of room. And Almirola spun, and then Anthony Alfredo hit him, and then which spun him around, and then he collected Corey LaJoie. Shane Globick also got hit. All four of them ended up done for the day. And then lap 48, William Byron gets into Ryan Blaney, spins him. Kevin Harvick, no, he didn't get in. No, my apologies. Not Ryan Blaney. I meant to say Ryan Newman. Newman spun around, comes back up a little bit. Harvick ends up getting into his teammate Chase Briscoe, and Briscoe in the wall and off the ground a bit. And then Cody Ware and Chris Windom also spun behind them. So a bunch of chaos in the first 50 laps, and this would become the comp caution. And then we go a couple laps into the second half of stage one after the comp caution. We get another caution. Christopher Bell goes up to the top lane. He spins. Kyle Larson gets collected. Ross Chastain gets collected. Briscoe got some damage. Harvick got some damage. Chastain and Bell would be done. Alex Bowman lost fourth gear at some point. And in the end, Martin Truex Jr. would take stage one. William Byron second. Denny Hamlin third. Daniel Suarez fourth. Ryan Blaney fifth. Joey Logano sixth. Bubba Wallace in seventh. Ryan Newman in eighth. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ninth. And Chris Buescher in 10th. Chris Windom would be done with an engine issue. And then, stage two was amazing to watch. Daniel Suarez gets the lead. Or he gets around Martin Truex Jr., moves him out of the way, bump and run, takes the lead, and holds on to it for up until we get to the comp caution. And then on the first lap after the comp caution in stage two, Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney get together. They spin. And basically everybody else is just trying to avoid it. And some other people spun. Larson, Bowman, Ware, Austin Dillon, Michael McDowell, Mike Marlar got involved. Blaney and Busch got the worst of it. Everybody else kind of just spun to avoid it, although some others did get some damage. A little bit later, caution comes out, or basically a couple laps later, caution comes out again. Chase Briscoe spun. Brian Kozlowski came down on him, which caused it. And then NASCAR decides to do something really interesting. They decided to go with green flag pit stops for the rest of the race. Sorry, not green flag pit stop. My apologies. I meant to say single file restarts. That is interesting, to say the least. And it was fun to see, not going to lie. Caution comes out again for Cody Ware spinning. And then Joey Logano gets around Daniel Suarez and would outlast him to win stage two. Logano, wins the stage. Suarez second. Denny Hamlin third. Martin Truex Jr. fourth. Brian Newman fifth. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in sixth. Bubba Wallace in seventh. Eric Jones eighth. Tyler Reddick in ninth. And Chase Elliott in 10th. And as I mentioned before, it was during this break where we got the announcement that we would be back here for Bristol Dirt next year. So we get the final 50 laps. It's a dogfight. A lot of people cheering on Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace as well, because they were both in the top 10. And then we get a little controversial here. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets into the left rear of Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace's tire goes down. He spins in the next corner, gathers it back up, and NASCAR doesn't throw the caution. Now, Wallace was able to get to pit road, but he got robbed of a top 10 finish and ended up finishing 27th, 2 laps down. or 2 or 3 laps down because of that. I'm not necessarily blaming Stenhouse, although again he got into him. I'm blaming NASCAR for like why the fuck. One of the biggest things is you've been throwing cautions for basically for almost every spin, depending on the situation. Because there was like Spencer Boyd spun at one point during the truck race, but he was in the back, so it didn't really matter. But I mean, you for the same situation, you literally threw a caution for Cody Ware when he spun in front of the leaders, but you don't throw the caution for Bubba Wallace when he spins after he lost a tire and he gets robbed of a top 10 finish. That's kind of stupid, just saying. But we would get a caution late in the race with about 4 laps to go. Mike Marlar comes off of turn 4, spins, ends up in the inside wall. So we get the restart, and Joey Logano would end up winning the race. Martin Truex Jr., who was like second or third on the restart, he goes into turns 1 and 2, and the car just does not turn for some reason. He ends up going way high, drops way the fuck back. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ends up finishing second. Denny Hamlin gets third. Daniel Suarez ended up fourth. Bro, this was for a lot of people are going to be pissed because Logano won. A lot of people are going to be pissed that, Bubba got robbed of the top 10. I already went through all that. People pissed, Suarez didn't win. I mean, Suarez had a great car, but I think by the end he just used it up. But he was still able to get a top 5 out of it, which was awesome to see. All in all, I was thoroughly impressed, and I was thoroughly happy with both races. I think that, I think a lot of people are going to be upset that we're bringing this back for next year but I think, here's the thing. If NASCAR, again, they've already announced that it's coming back for next year. You have to move it to the summer. Move it to the summer and make it a night race. One of the biggest things that the drivers were complaining about, and you heard this on the radio from guys like Kyle Busch, is you couldn't fucking see shit. Especially with the sun going down and the glare and the dirt and everything. And yeah, so you've got to make it a night race, and you've got to push it back later in the season so that we hopefully don't have to deal with another Mother Nature incident like we did this weekend. I mean, I know Mother Nature will impact it either way, but still. But all in all, it was a great race. I mean, I think both races were really good, and I'm already looking forward to next year. I'm hoping that next year we'll actually get to see the heat races. We'll actually and all that with the next gen car. It's gonna make things really interesting. But yeah, I think the thing that I'm most impressed with is Daniel Suarez and Bubba Wallace. Again, Wallace's finish is not indicative of the run that he had. He got up to the top 10, and he was running about 7th to 9th for a large part of this race. And if Stenhouse didn't get into him, if he didn't lose a tire, or if NASCAR fucking threw the caution when he spun, he would have definitely had a better finish. He wouldn't have been stuck 2 laps down and all of that. But his run was not indicative of the race that he had. He had one hell of a day. And for Daniel Suarez, dude, I mean, after watching the truck race and watching Truex Jr. get to the lead early, I think a lot of us thought he was just going to dominate. And then Suarez just comes out of nowhere. Or I shouldn't say nowhere. He started up in 14th after having a really good run last week. That got marred with a speeding penalty. So he should have had a top 10 last week. But Suarez gets up there. He ends up leading the race and was in contention for the win much of the rest of the way. Like, I mean, bro, I am thoroughly impressed. And again, you had Kyle Larson, again, just look at some of the names that were stuck at the back or whatever. Fucking Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Eric Almirola, and a couple of others had issues. Chastain, the SHR guys. I mean, Custer was up near the top 10, top 15. Harvick was up there at times, but he was like stuck back in the teens and whatever. I mean, the unfortunate thing, Bowman probably would have done better if he didn't lose fourth gear. Just it was one hell of a race. There was so much going on. It was so fun to watch, and you know, I think if NASCAR makes the right changes, move it back in the season, and make it a night race, I think that next time around, it's going to be even better. I mean, a lot of people are going to complain, why can't they, get rid of the windshields and shit? That's a whole other discussion for a whole other day. But as far as I'm concerned, all things considered, I would say that this was a success, and I'm glad that NASCAR is going to bring it back. I was apprehensive about it coming back because of the next gen car, but they've announced that they're going to do it, so I'm interested, I'm intrigued, and I think it's a whole lot of fun. So, thank y'all for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe. Make sure to use my code ANJJ for free shipping on orders of $20 or more at Circle B Diecast. And I will see you all next time. Peace.